The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, squeezably soft host. Once more into the breach, dear friends. We start off this day off about 2 on the S&P cash at 2106, 2.2 billion shares. We got a lot of people trying to push the market one way, trying to push the market the other way. We are higher than the low, but lower than the high, and closer to the high. And, we're into fund buying, and I can see where they'll try to keep this market up fairly high. The 2108 area we've been talking about for months as the area where volume has really decreased when we've gotten back up here. It looks like the same thing today. We got to 2109 on the S&P cash. And I think I put it in my newsletter this morning. I just think a lot of people are trying to make a lot of stuff out of something that probably doesn't matter a whole lot. To me, there is one only North Star. And like the sailors of yore, not your sailors, but of old-timey, you don't get enough of yore anymore. Seems to be like Christmas, old lang syne. No one ever says that anymore, except at Christmas. Anyway, sailors of yore, when lost, would look for the sun, the North Polaris, the North Star. And every day they'd wait until the noon got as high as it could in the sky, and they wrote down the time. And guess what? They could tell where they were on Earth by those two things. And to me, it is all about that. So what are the things that we can look at that are unchanging? That we can look at. And to me, the one thing that is the bright northern shining star out here is the dollar. It is telling us pretty much what we're looking at. We had every opportunity to blow it out over the last couple of days. It has not, trading out on the continuous contract at 97.58. And that tells me everything that I'm looking for. Probably about a week ago, I thought within the next 7 to 10 days that we would be through the 100 mark. We are not. It's been actively manipulated by world banks, treasuries, FOMCs. Everybody in the world is trying to hold back the inevitable. But as they say, when the immovable force meets the irresistible object, something's got to give. And it's just hard for me to see that, especially with numbers that we continue to see fairly weak in China. And as people are able to exit stage left in China, that it's just going to be them selling the yuan, buying the dollar, and trying to come back over in the United States and buy something. And I think they're getting out of the frying pan and into the fire. These people just can't help but buy bubbles. And we've got such a wonderful bubble brewing out here. Yeah, almost. I wonder if it's going to happen is the realization going to happen on Halloween? It'd be poetic, wouldn't it? Bubble, bubble, toil and trouble. Anyway, let's get this show started out here.
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
I always thought that growing up, of course, In God We Trust was always on our cash. It was not. In 1956, just several years before my mother bored me, Under God was inserted into the Pledge of Allegiance and also on our money. But I always thought it was around for a long time. A relatively new issue. The people that, of course, pushing it, not talking about a single individual God, but more of a concept. That concept is that we have a creator or a higher power, and that higher power gives us rights. If government gives us rights, then government can take those rights away. And part of that "In God We Trust" was a declaration that no man or no government can take our inalienable rights away on this day in 1956. So put that in your pipe, Mr. Commie, and smoke it. Yeah. What else? I've been opining for several months that I think Bill Gross may be the smartest guy in the world. He pretty much put together the biggest, longest bull run in anything ever. And, of course, was the captain of that at PIMCO. Started acting somewhat nutty, and to the point they fired him. Then he went over and started a brand new gig outside of PIMCO with Janice. And more, he talks like a guy that's getting on the very short side of this crowded market. He was out today, and he basically said that from what he read, the Fed Reserve is beginning to recognize that ultra low interest rates, he said, increasingly have a negative effect as well as positive consequences. The roughly $7 trillion that the world's three biggest central banks, including the Fed, have pumped into the financial system since the financial crisis has succeeded in mostly lifting prices of securities rather than the cost of goods and workers' wages, Gross said. So basically, he said that they've thrown a lot of money, and they've thrown it in a giant pit.
Are you suggesting we throw money at the problem?
Precisely.
And that's his opinion in a nutshell. I suspect he is getting very, very well situated for the other side of the bond trade out there. And we've got so much going on out here that I'm going to probably get right in just to stocks that are moving, because there are literally a ton of them out here. And, they were awful, of course, a lot more earlier in the day. But a great deal of these are moving, and we're going to try to get to them just as quickly as we can. So why don't we just start now? In the meantime, you can always call me at 877-927-6648. You can also email me at path@tfnn.com and put a message in the den. So we got all that stuff. I'm sounding like Mark Levine. Well, I take that as a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful compliment. He's a very, very smart guy when it comes to the Constitution. So we will take that in the spirit that I'm sure it was intended. What else do we have out here? Wanted to look at, let's get right into these right now. BUD. Okay, we got Anheuser-Busch. It looks like Spuds McKenzie isn't going to be partying out here today for Anheuser-Busch InBev. I probably would have changed that, because I keep on wanting to say inbred. Anheuser-Busch InBred, but it's InBev. Bud down fairly huge numbers out here, and I don't know what else you need to say about that. They didn't make their numbers. Came back and filled this big gap up, and did it all in one day. And it's basically these heaven and hell moves. $2 or $4 is a real move in most stocks. No one would say anything about. But in a stock like this, tends to be, one of these stocks that doesn't have a lot of, wild movements out here. So a $4 move is fairly quick in it. Of course, you got plenty of volume. Like you're more likely going to see the 115.85 July 7th low tested before this thing even has a chance to buy. On a longer term scale, that gap did form that it's going against it for that 115 on the 16th of January. Had 1.5 million shares, so that gap is not going to act like a lot of movement. got another gap down here with a million shares and another gap. But I think you can make a play or a statement that this is a 3-gap play, and all those down to about 109.50 could get filled in this particular stock. Again, one of these stocks that had decent volume at the highs, went above the February 26th high, closed back in it the next day, and that's it. So as far as price and volume trading, we tend to be extremely range bound, both at the highs and the lows when we get extreme volume. And it looks like we're just getting a tighter and tighter wound market out here. 2107 on the S&P cash as we speak. What else do we have out here? Avago is playing, trading off a lot of weakness in this sector. It's just kind of going sideways now, so not that big a deal. But after hours last night was feeling a bit of the pain. I think it was down to 122. Opened up a little bit better out here. Why is Avago important? It seems to be the most correlated to what Apple is doing, and Apple continues to show weakness in this market. And very few buyers. It's still off $1 today on what a lot of people would say is a key reversal. It looks to me like a lot of people are selling Apple and trying to, and flailing in a way to get into anything else out here. It's going up against, I think you've got probably a 90% probability this thing tests 119.22 over the coming days, which is the July 9th low. It did kind of gap. There wasn't a lot of volume, so I'm going to say 119 gets tested fairly quickly. But my thought is that this 115 range, where it actually gapped up with 146 million shares on the 28th of January, is where Apple is coming back to. Samsung had their earnings also, and it continues to look somewhat problematic. Where's my time? Oh, I forgot to actually bring it up. I'm glad I thought of it before it happened. I think we're getting close to a break here, but it'll be ready. Come on, come on. So I know what we have. Okay. We got a minute left. Good enough. Okay. Anyway, Apple's up there, still back to the 115. It's hard for me to see that this doesn't come back at least into that area. I'd say 90% probability that we're looking at that 115 gap to get filled on Apple. Other stocks of interest that are moving out here today, Borg Warner, you don't see a lot of movement in these. We've been talking about how the car business looks weaker by time. It looks like we're going to blow through the lows with volume today on Borg Warner. If you're unfamiliar with them, they make transmissions for trucks and cars, but a great deal of the transmissions that go in trucks. Of course, Ford had news out on their aluminum truck today, and that was, it is expensive to repair, but I think you could have told anybody that. There are other aluminum cars out there, and they've all got the same thing. We will be back in a moment.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crisp crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Direction's daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Anyway, we got BorgWarner. It's down there. It's kind of back into the trading range. It's got the volume, though, today. And, of course, it came down on significant volume. Hard for me to say that this thing doesn't go sideways, if not down farther out here. But to me, it's done everything that you think it would at a low. And just anybody's buying anything that looks like maybe it's a value out here. A lot of extra cash all sloshing around looking for a place to move. And the market looks more and more every day like the .com highs and resolutions, the .com highs in 1999, with stocks wildly moving after hours, the gamblers coming back, and people looking to throw money anywhere for a chance of some returns. And they'll buy just about anything if it's down, if it's up, if it's sideways. Kind of a buying mania. Facebook was down as low as $91. And I have to tell you, I've never been in Facebook because I didn't figure I had the kind of time to get into it. And I'm mostly on the receiving side. I read a absolute ton, I think I probably have 80 different RSS feeds for technology and finance that I read every day. And if I ended up spending yet another 2 hours in this Facebook cult, which is the way I look at it, it's some kind of cult, would be interesting. Anyway, it was down lower. It came back up. But a lot of people kind of worried about all the money they're spending going forward. And that was kind of the gist of most of this, is that they've hired a lot of people, spend a lot of cash. And of course, when you've got such a huge move with those big candles of just a week ago, you probably got to have extraordinary earnings, and they did not. And I think we're going to see a lot more of this kind of indecision in the marketplace, because all stocks now seem to be priced for perfection and or way, way off of their value of the day. We didn't do Bungie, BG. I don't know how many of these want to go through, because there's a ton of these things out here that have fallen off the turnip truck, and we'll do that. But anyway, Bungie, BG, no good for the mining space out here. That is the miner, isn't it? For some reason, I always think that I get this one confused. Oh, this is the agribusiness one. Thank God I checked it this time. Edible oil products, milling products, sugar, bioenergy, and fertilizer. And what else do we have out here? Well, anyway, down, big volume. You only needed about, well, you had kind of a low out here at just under $80 on February 13th. Had 5.7 million shares, so that's going to act as some natural support. There's also a gap where this thing actually started moving back up, which is about time. My guess is that you'll see that move back down into that area over the next few days. What else do we have? Whole Logic, HOLX. HOLX. Nice pop on this. Let's go ahead and read the profile out on this. And that is manufacturers and supplies diagnostic products, medical imaging systems, and surgical products for women in the United States and internationally. The company operates in 4 segments: diagnostic, breast health, GYN surgical, and skeletal health. Well, I hope they don't wait until you're a skeleton to help you. Skeletal health. Huh. Sounds weird. Anyway, nice pop, volume, everything that you look for out here, but much more likely that this huge gap out here probably gets filled, and looks like it's probably an exhaustion move. So chasing this, probably not a wise move, but there are some stocks that are breaking out with higher prices. What else do we have? Let's take a quick look at the TLT, because I haven't had a chance to really look at it. It had a little bounce out here today, but what can you say? I still think we're on a downtrend, and I think we're just going sideways here and building up some steam to go lower. Okay, what else? Get back to some of the stuff that I'm looking at. Well, I got distracted. We've got 30 seconds left. Got LinkedIn after the bell, LNKD. I'm pretty sure they're after the bell, aren't they? Anyway, this is off, what, $4, a little less than 2% going into earnings. And boy, if I was going to pull the trigger on one for earnings tonight, I would think I'd have to look awful hard at this one from the chart pattern. But I don't have a good enough feel about it to actually do it. This one, if it probably looks like it's coming back to 191, this one looks kind of like it. We'll be back in a minute.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors. Tom O'Brien has just announced a live online workshop taking place Wednesday, August 12th, 6 trades for September. This special event will be open to all subscribers to his daily newsletter, Market Insights. Tom will walk you through 6 trade setups in the market he's identified setting up for September. 2 long positions, 2 short positions, and 2 option trades. New subscribers will also receive a free copy of his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, an $88 value. But we're not done yet. We're also including a Tiger's Den membership as part of all Market Insights subscriptions at no cost as well. You get Tom O'Brien's best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, 30 days of his newsletter, Market Insights, access to his live online workshop, 6 trades for September, and access to the Tiger's Den. This offer is only valid for 2 weeks, so don't miss out. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to Market Insights at the front page of TFNN.com today.
If you're looking for a great opportunity to diversify your financial portfolio, consider the Principal Protected Market Safe CD from Everbank. They've just released the second running of their 5-year Market Safe Power Metal CD, which combines the power of gold, silver, and copper. You get exposure to 3 valuable metals in one index CD and have the potential to earn up to 45% capped upside payment at maturity if the metals increase in value across annual pricing dates. And should they decrease? No worries. There's 0 risk to your deposited principal here, as you still get 100% of it back. Keep in mind, returns are based on CD performance. There is no annual percentage yield or periodic rate of interest on the CD. Intrigued yet? The August 17th funding deadline is quickly approaching. So hurry over to everbank.com/TFNN-CD for more information, including important product details and disclosures. Once again, that's everbank.com/TFNN-CD. Everbank is a member FDIC.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And we're back. And had John from Denver email me, wanted to take a quick look at Microsoft. I don't think it's doing a whole lot here. Of course, they rolled out Windows 10 yesterday. I installed it in my machines last night. I had 3 of them. Only had problem with one of them, and that's because of the RAID configuration on the hard drives. It's putting multiple hard drives together to either get better performance or more data integrity. And I back up a lot, so I'm not interested in data integrity so much as getting the fastest smoking hard drives as humanly possible. Bought a couple of them. Actually, they're laying right here. And I have them in carriers, so I can swap them out and use this machine for multiple operating systems. So I installed it last night. Couple words of recommendation if you're going to install it. 1, do not try to install it over your existing Windows 7 or 8 systems. Start from the beginning and reinstall your software. If you don't have an SSD, seriously think about installing it. Installing one with the next build that you have, and maybe using your spinning drive as more of a storage platform instead of your main drive for your operating system. My machine boots in about 5 seconds here, and I'm very happy on almost everything in Windows 10. It's got a few bugs. They've already announced a Windows Service Pack early in August, and I don't know what else you can say about that. I think they've purposely kind of kept this low-key and are going to, as soon as they get everybody on Windows 10, they've got about 3 different major areas of new features that they're going to be adding on over the next 6 to 9 months. And I can't talk about them as a developer, but I think they're all very interesting. Windows 10 is much more like a onion, and they're going to be wrapping things, layers and more layers around the core operating system now that they have it out. But very interesting. Like it a lot. I'm working on trying to get everything moved over, and I'll probably be on Windows 10 in the next 7 to 10 days, I think. And that way I don't have to flip back and forth to Windows 7. But I'll always keep it on a drive, and I can just pop it back in if I really need it. But gives me a bridge to go to it. If you have a laptop, probably a little tougher to be removing and adding hard drives out of it. But I upgraded 3 machines to the official Windows 10, and I'm happy with all 3 installations. But make sure you do this. Make sure that you get a thumb drive, and when you go to the website to download your free update, just make sure that you create a thumb drive to boot everything with, and get yourself a new drive if you want to keep the data that you have on that drive for something else, or back it up before you get started. Anyway, pretty happy. Anyway, that is one email I've got. Let's see, what else do we have? That's it for the moment. I got more comments than questions. So we'll take a look at a few more out here as we go and take a quick check of the markets. 2106, again, 2.4 billion shares. And we're right back into that familiar pattern, which is as soon as you hit 2108, the volume just all falls out in the market. I mean, we've gotten up higher than that, but the volume went incredibly light last time we were up here. Volume, while okay, is nothing that's signaling me a potential breakout in these markets. And I see a brand new thing about gold. We'll talk about that later in the show, to some of these stocks that are moving. Of course, SSYS. And this thing hammered down again to the lows. And of course, everybody wanted to buy it out here because they're looking for anything they can make a potential move on. Heavy volume to the downside on an earnings miss. And, you know, can you get a couple of bucks out of a stock like this today? I think the answer is yes, but there is a word that people call in Wall Street for it, and that is knife catchers. This is not any kind of setup for a potential V bottom, but much more for one that needs to consolidate for maybe 3 to 6 months down here before it's ready to do any meaningful upside. A buck or two may be great today, but you're playing Russian roulette, in my opinion. And the difference between intelligent speculation and, of course, gambling. And I think we've got some gamblers out here. Of course, the sister stock to this one also getting hit with some pin action is 3D Systems. This one's down. Not so much on this one, down to 13.54. In the Tech Insider, I issued a sale when 3D Systems was like 96 or 97 bucks. We've shorted it several times on the way down. Same thing with SSYS. We shorted it a few times when there was a lot of money to be made on the top side. I don't like shorting stocks that are below 30 bucks, so we've had to kiss these goodbye as short candidates in the Tech Insider, but it continues to be problematic. But I think at one point these stocks are going to be extremely attractive. They just were heavily oversold. And the question is, will they find a footing before they go under 10 bucks, especially on DDD? But this is a great one to go back and have a teachable moment, because I've said it on the air and said it in my newsletters. And that is, watch very closely when you see a CEO that's on CNBC every week, if not twice a week. This guy was on there all the time, and I knew a high was probably coming. There was going to be a long-term high. I thought maybe this might find support somewhere around 27 to 30 bucks, and it kind of did for a little bit. But Never really bounced off those levels as it should, and that was the key to knowing this thing had much lower prices. Another company that now is not around that I got out of way before it blew off to the high side was a company called Molycorp, MCP. It's the exact same thing. CEO was literally on every other day for about 2 weeks before it hit a high. Maybe a good clue out there when you see the CEO on CNBC, instead of making his business run better, there may be problems ahead. So you have to look at it good. TPX, question in the den. TPX. How much are they selling Windows 10 for and TPX? What do you have out here? Okay. You got light volume. It's up at the highs. You'd want this thing to close back below the 3x3 displaced moving average, and then I'd pull the trigger. I wouldn't pull it up here. But, if this thing just goes sideways for a few days, you're going to run into it. So I would continue looking at this thing. If you're not familiar with the 3x3 displaced moving average, it's basically a 3-day moving average, and you put that 3 days into the future. So today's Thursday. You take whatever the close is, the last 3 days, and you average that out, and is the stock above or below it. But this is a perfect double repo pattern setting up on TXP. But normally the signal to make fairly decent money on these is wait for them to fail, and you really kind of have to like this one on any close below that 3x3 displaced moving average. And it's very close to the 9-day moving average, except it's put out 3 days into the future. So the problem with that one is you really don't know what the number is. But if you go back to, I'm showing it here on Tiger TV if you're watching, but if you go back to the displaced one, I already know that the number in 3 days that this thing has to close below for me to pull the trigger is $70.98, which is not that different than right now. So any close on 8.4 below that, basically $71, would say that you could get in. Double repo, if it closes 2 times below the 3-day average. No, now, according to the guy that developed it, which was Joe DiNapoli, which was a frequent guest probably in 2001, 2, 3, before he moved to Asia, was that, and I've modified it for my use after it, but what you want to see is you want to see 10 to 15 days of it above the 3x3 displaced moving average. You want a few days, which is more than 1 for the most part, and less than probably 10 on the long part. But normally it'll be 3-4 days, and you'll get exactly what you got on Temper Sealy on the 28th, which is you'll get a move. It'll have a little volume. The next couple of days have no volume. It retests the high, close to the high, and the next move down underneath that is when you have to look at it. Let's take a quick look and see. Is earnings coming up on this? Earnings date. Let's take a quick look. July 30th. So the problem with this one, of course, is, did it just have earnings, or is it earnings after the bell? What is it? TPX. Take a quick look here. TPX. Temper. Why can't I find it out here? Yeah, it's after the close tonight. So that's going to be a tough one to trade out here. But that is the pattern you're looking for. If this thing would just not do a whole lot in the next couple of days, sells back off under that 70, you'd look for it. And you've got a nice target out here, which is about $66, $67, where this thing gapped up on 1.3 million shares back to the 1st of July. So not a bad little setup out here. But again, you want this thing to close below the 3x3 to put it together. Had a question. Does that get all of it? Is that where he is? Yes. He moved, I think, in 2003 or 2004. boy, I can't remember what. All I remember was that he basically wrote the book on original book, let me put it that way, on trading Fibonacci retracements with multiple ones put together, otherwise known as confluence. And nice book. It was about $180. I bought it. I went through it. He did a lot of early work. And I'm talking about Joe DiNapoli, if you're unfamiliar with him. He's got a website. If you Google it out there, I think it's something Coast Software or something. But he was really amazed one day when I sent him some outputs of Art of Timing the Trade charts, where we were doing a lot of these things automatically in the software, and he thought it was there was absolutely no way to do it. And I showed him some, and he kind of sent me back a rather pithy email, not safe for work, as they like to say. Yeah, he ended up going over to Asia and teaching lots of classes, but he wanted to get in on the floor of trading commodities over there. He originally was one of these guys that took one of the Osborne CPM computers, those big things that look like a cooler, and spent a lot of time working on it. And these computers didn't have a lot of either power and or storage, but he did a lot with floppies back in the early 80s to work a lot of these patterns out, and they continue to work fairly well, which is the reason I like them. And I like the fact that on at least this pattern, the way he uses them, that he waits for a confirmation before these things fall apart. But this is the way that just about everything in China looked, and why I was so talking 2 months ago that these things were a balloon. I'd already seen this move all the way up, you know, we got kind of a little double repo in it. We made money again on, you know, not on the first time, but on the second time in those China markets. And I think that's kind of what I'm looking at here in a lot of different stocks. It's just a lot of these things that are falling apart. It's not a complete sector. It seems to be individual stocks that are putting this together. So I don't know if I could read a great deal of anything into the housing market, which is normally what Temper Sealy is correlated with. But yeah, any close back below, you'd want to pull the trigger, and you'd have this first target as a gap at about 67. Yeah, I'd probably say about $67. So not looking too bad. The nice, normally once they close under that, these things make a rocket, so it's a quick trade. If this thing doesn't really whip back down to that $67 level, then it's probably not going to work. You get a almost instant move out of it. Still have floppies. Anybody want it? I did have, was watching one of the guys that developed the original Commodore 64 and Commodore 128, who was a big guy back in there. He was a team. Can you imagine a team of 4 building a computer these days? He built the hardware on it. Anyways, he's got a YouTube channel for an outfit called Maker that it really pushes people making all kinds of stuff, electronics, all kinds of stuff. But he was going to a fest where everybody was dusting off their Commodore 64's convention in Las Vegas. It was actually incredibly funny. And yes, the people looked exactly like you think they would that are collectors of Commodore 64 machines and games. We'll be back in just a minute.
TFNN is excited to offer a brand new piece of market scanning software unlike anything the industry has ever seen. John Logan and his team have spent years developing their market profile tools to finally be able to release the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. And right now you can get a 2-week trial absolutely free just by visiting TFNN.com and providing us your name and email address. The TAS Profile Scanner Plus is the premier market profile based scanner in the industry, powered by the acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner is a standalone desktop software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Within 3 minutes of signing up, you can have the software downloaded and running on your computer with a complete roadmap of market indicators and inflection points to trade off using the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. Sign up today and try this amazing piece of software by visiting TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And we're back. We'll take a last look at this market before the end of the day. 2108, which is flat on the day. 2.5 billion shares. Volume's gone flat. Market's gone flat. Volume's gone flat. So we'll see how this moves. But my guess is, like most days, we won't have any action till the last 30 minutes of the day once again. But we'll continue to keep an eye on it and others as we finish out the day. Wanted to look at a few other stocks. I had some more questions in the den about the double repo pattern, and it was Joe DiNapoli's pattern of 10 to 15 days. This is the rough guy, 15 days, and it was mostly used in commodities too. 10 to 15 days above the 3x3 displaced moving average. You can use the 9-day moving average if you want. Several days underneath it. All you need is 1 day above it, and you might have, but all you need is 1 day above it. The next close is the day that you pull the trigger on it, and you use basically the previous start point where it hit its previous high, started moving down as your stop. And that's pretty much it. So you have very tight risk reward on these patterns. And like I said, if they work very well, they fall apart almost instantly. So you can take a look at that. And a question on gold. Do I see anything changing out here? I don't know. Let's see here. See if my internet is stopped. Come on. Has it? I don't know what's going longer. Yeah. I don't know exactly what's the problem going on here. Yeah. For some reason, I'm having yet more internet problems. I have a question out here on, do I have time? Yes. AMBA. Yeah. There we go. Let's just take a quick look at AMBA. Short answer on gold, I don't see anything that has changed out here. And hopefully I'm still on the air. Well, attack of Windows 10, except I'm on Windows 7. So it doesn't do it. I'm having internet issues here. So I don't know what else I could say about it than that, other than we got 2 minutes. Ambrilla. Anyway, David, please comment on the AMBA as it met all objectives. To short, closed gap on less volume. Now you're below the MA. Brent and Martine Nina's California. I would say that the problem with shorting Ambrilla right now is it is still linked to GoPro, and the GoPro story has not been discredited yet. And I have a feeling that as soon as GoPro starts seeing the real problem, you'll see Ambrilla pull back. It's just, to me, a great deal of issues have to do with everybody still believing the big GoPro story. I do not. I am a skeptic, not a cynic, but a skeptic. I think they have a huge amount of ways to go before they can be considered an Apple, and that's the way that they are priced. Ambrilla probably a lot easier to figure out in the fact that they make the compression chips for the video in those GoPros. But I spent a lot of time over the summer at Best Buy, and those things have not been flying off the shelf. Again, that's anecdotal because that's just around here, but I don't see a lot of movement in it. Anyway, hang on for Tom O'Brien. The Tom O'Brien Show. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time. So when you can, not when you have to.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.
You're watching Tiger TV.